You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
So dumb. Reporter who nailed Trump over Epstein unloads another thundering beatdown, based on an article by Adam Lynch. The cover-up was never the point. The power was. The story beneath the story. Phang's lawsuit forced interim Attorney General Todd Blanche and the Trump administration into court over the Epstein files, after months of stalling and open defiance of a new transparency law. Judge Emmet G. Sullivan ruled against them and demanded an explanation for why names and records tied to Epstein should stay hidden. That is the surface event. The real story is simpler. People in power tried to keep control of evidence that could damage them. Who actually controls the damage? The institutional power sits with Trump's government, not with the reporter, not with the victim, and not with the judge trying to pry loose documents. The administration had the files, the legal obligation, and the machinery of delay. Blanche is not some innocent administrator caught in confusion. He is the face of the refusal. Trump is the political beneficiary of the secrecy. The apparatus around them did what modern power often does when it fears exposure. It stalled, buried, and hoped time would do the work. Secrecy is strategy, not mistake. Phang's point that they looked disorganized is useful only up to a point. The deeper fact is that even clumsy concealment is still concealment. A government can be incompetent and still be deliberate. Calling this a lack of strategy risks softening what is plainly a political protection racket. When the files might implicate prominent people, the instinct is to hide the paper trail and drag the process out until the outrage passes. The Situation Room tells the truth. The most revealing detail in the source is not the lawsuit. It is the reported fact that the administration repeatedly convened high-level figures in the Situation Room over the Epstein files: J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Todd Blanche, Susie Wiles, and others. That is not how you behave when you have a trivial administrative issue. That is how you behave when the material is politically toxic and could injure the president's circle. The story itself supplies the answer. They understood the danger, and they still tried to contain it. Judge Sullivan as a pressure point. Phang deliberately targeted Blanche so the government could not hide behind a disposable subordinate. That matters. Power loves to stage its accountability through middle management. Some junior lawyer, some faceless deputy, some procedural buffer. Forcing Blanche into the courtroom removes the shell game. If the administration wants secrecy, it now has to defend secrecy in public, under oath, before a judge who is not impressed by theatrical incompetence. The pattern is the corruption. This is bigger than Epstein, bigger than one lawsuit, bigger than one judge's order. The pattern is familiar: elite misconduct, institutional insulation, strategic delay, and a political class that expects the public to accept confusion as an explanation for what is really self-protection. The files are dangerous because they may connect private abuse to public power. That is why they were hidden. And that is why the fight over them is not about paperwork. It is about whether state institutions will be used to shield the men at the top from the consequences of what they knew, enabled, or did. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article. With the automated voice of Sam, thanks for listening.